Hi, I'm Mansi, and I'm going to speak about our ongoing work, learning to deceive with attention-based explanations, done with some awesome collaborators at CMU. So in the vanilla sequence-to-sequence model, one of the major limitations is that the entire encoder sequence has to be represented in a fixed size vector. And the attention mechanism tries to overcome this limitation. And the way that it does that, it computes a normalized weighted vector over the input space and uses that normalized weighted vector to predict an output. So this normalized weighted vector is often used by model developers to explain or justify the model's abilities and predictions. For instance, in so many varied tasks ranging from image captioning to entailment, document classification, and so on. But it is also sometimes used by evaluators to audit the models for bias and fairness, accountability, etc. Uh, in some very high stake setting as well. So for instance, in this paper, bias in BIOS, the task is to predict occupation of a person given their biographies. So this paper assumes that the attention weights indicate which tokens are the most predictive. So we question this assumption and we ask, do the attention weights necessarily indicate most predictive tokens? Can one trust the explanation that is provided by the attention weights? Or to put it differently, is it possible is it possible for an adversary to manipulate these attention weights to be on the features that they want it to be and away from the actual predictive features? So to find this out, we set up our experimental tasks in such a way that we know certain features that are useful for predicting a certain task, and we measure a quantity called as attention mass on these tokens, which is simply the which is simply the sum of attention probabilities on these tokens, and we try to manipulate this attention mass. So the way that we do is we add a penalty term to the loss, which just takes away the attention from these predictive token, which we also call as impermissible tokens. So in a parallel work, the authors propose sort of a different kind of a penalty term that, diverges the attention away from the original attention distribution. So this work is also featured in the poster session today. For the suite of the tasks that we consider a bunch of classification tasks, and the highlighted tokens here are the are the features such as race, gender, etc. that are useful for the prediction. And we also consider a bunch of sequence-to-sequence tasks. In these tasks, the impermissible tokens, we get those tokens by using the gold alignments of the sequence-to-sequence tasks. So as you would notice that a lot of these tasks, like say bigram flipping, the gold alignments are implicit. So for instance, bigram flipping is the task of just swapping the adjacent tokens. So we know the goal alignments for them. But in the tasks such as machine translation, we get the goal alignments by a statistical tool called FastAlign. So once we have these goal alignments, we try to manipulate the attention on those alignments. The models that we use for our experiments are attention on embeddings, sequential models, and then self-attention based models. So more details can be read in the paper. Now we do a sanity check to find out if the features that we are taking away the attention from, are they even useful for predicting a particular task? So we consistently find out that the performance without these impermissible tokens, like the blue bar, is much worse than the green bar, which is with these tokens. So these tokens provide some value to the performance of the model. So now comes the interesting part, the results that we found. So in the occupation prediction task, here we show the different schemes of attention that we apply. So, so for instance, in the original non-manipulated naive attention, the attention mass on the leftmost blue bar, which basically shows the attention mass on the gender tokens that we found out to be predictive for this particular task, is quite high. But in the manipulated case, you would notice that there is almost no, so in the manipulated case, the attention mass on those gender tokens is very, very low. It's a very small positive value. And we are able to manipulate attention without any loss in accuracy. And we consistently find this across like the series of tasks that we do our experiment on. Even for machine translation, we see the same sort of trend with respect to the blue scores. So now we try to like go deeper into why does this happen? How are the models able to cheat and get around our like the circumvent our penalty term? The details are in the paper, but I will just go through. I'll just go through an representative example. So in the bigram flip sequence to sequence task, this is the attention map that we get for non-manipulated training, and this is what is expected as well. But when we manipulate the attention mass away from the tokens that it should have been, we see like a very different attention mass. The attention mass seems to be shifted towards a few tokens towards the left. But when we try with a different seed and manipulate the attention, it shows like a completely different mask altogether. So the model seems to be using different kinds of workarounds for different seeds. So now we also want to find out if the human beings are actually fooled by the attention manipulation that we perform. We conduct a human study where we give humans input example and the corresponding predicted labels. So in the case of no manipulation, we find out that in 2 out of 3 cases, human beings think that gender tokens are like important for the prediction. So basically, the highlighted tokens in yellow are the ones represent the attention weights over the input example. In both kinds of penalty schemes, we find out that even though the model gives a good accuracy and it is using the gender tokens to identify the occupation of a person, but the human beings do not think that the prediction was influenced by the gender of an individual in none of the sentences. The second thing we try to find out is that, like in the alternate attention maps that we provide by our manipulated attention, is it actually believable to actually have produced the predicted label? And we find out that although both the penalty schemes are deceptive, but our scheme is more believable. For instance, it focuses on tokens like medicine and specializes, which can actually which might actually lead to the predicted label being as physician. To conclude, In short, the conclusion is that the attention, if organically trained, we find out across a lot of different tasks that the value is high on the correct tokens that we expect it to be high on, but it is surprisingly easy to manipulate with negligible drop in accuracy, and with getting good accuracy even if the model is manipulated. Part of this work can be found on arXiv, and I will take, if there is any questions or discussions, I will be happy to take them in the poster session. Thank you.